Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have any audio for this? I hope we might. Yes, thank you. Thanks. Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it is time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is Thursday, the second day of June. So, happy June, everybody. I've been off for the last couple of days. Well, I guess a little more than that. I'm getting over the end of a bug here. I have a recommendation for everybody, and that would be avoid getting the flu. Anyway, if I have to stop because I start coughing, you'll know. So, well, I've missed doing this. I don't know if anybody's missed listening to me blither, but I kind of feel like I want to get caught up on everything that's been going on. It looks like this morning we've had the indices are all a little different. YM and ES has been they've been just humming right along in unison. They did their little, what was that, 10:30, 10:30, something like that. Yeah, 10:30. The bus driver decided he'd had enough of going southbound, so he decided to go north for a while. The TF never did go down like its three little friends, and NQ really went down, and then it came right out of that, just right about on schedule. They will frequently turn about 10:30. Doesn't happen all the time, but many times it does. This morning we had crude oil inventory. It got moved to Thursday, which happens when there is a holiday on Monday in the U.S. And they move it to 11 because nat gas inventory holds the 10:30 slot on Thursdays, every Thursday. If you are a nat gas trader, that's the regular time for that. So they just fit crude oil in there at 11 on Thursdays. Today, the inventory was, the drawdown out of that inventory was less than expected. And that would normally be, excuse me, that would normally be somewhat significant, but what we've been hit with today in crude oil is the double whammy. It's both the inventory and the OPEC boys are in Vienna. Sometimes in the past, they have made some pontifications about what they're going to do. Right now, those guys are, it's almost like they belong to the White House. They just dither. They just blither and dither, and they don't do anything. So I'm not sure what's going to come out of this. What they would like to do is cap production in order to drive the price up. And the reason for that is the Saudi government is facing a huge deficit because of all their social welfare programs that they dole out all their oil money to keep the natives in line. And they're having a hard time meeting those obligations. As a matter of fact, they can't. So they have never diversified their economy. So they're pretty well wound up over this. And they cannot get, nobody can get Iran to agree to anything. So I think it'll probably just continue on like it did. One of the things they tried to do was to drive the price down by slowing production down because their goal was to drive the U.S. frackers out of business. And I could have told him that wouldn't work, but anybody that bets against Yankee technology and ingenuity is probably going to come up a little short on that deal. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. For crude oil to bolt beyond 50 and head to 55 or 60, it's going to have to close above 50 and stay there. And it's been playing around with that, but it hadn't quite got itself convinced it wants to do that. I also noticed that Craig made a note here in the chat. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Craig made a note in the chat about these taking the first E's on a reversal, which is not recommended. And right here on the crude oil chart, this is a great example because the programmers got this programmed so the first, we used to have to scroll back and count. Okay, if this is which E is this? Is this the first one or is this the second one? And sometimes it would take a long time to develop. So now they make the first ones pale. And I really kind of like that because you don't have to go back and look. But we've had green apexes on crude oil and green apexes. And then it started the first potential E of a reversal of the trend, but it painted this whole apex in a real pale color. Well, had it continued, the next one would have been red. But what happened? This is why we don't take the first one. Yes, it can be traded. You can definitely trade that, but know what you're trading. That's likely to be a scalp and not much more. So, and if you're new, I would just stay out. But then this is a perfect example. That red apex never did materialize. The second one never did. So now it put up, since it painted the pale red ones, put up the first one of the green, and that shows pale. So now if it makes another green E, you'll see that one will turn into a dark green E, and that is a significant marker there because what it's telling you is that the trend has now changed back to the buying. There's more buyers coming into the market. I also saw something that was really cool here. If you've been looking at C's, let me drag my my bond chart over here. I like 4 ticks on bonds for the C's, and I put the trend catcher entries. Everything else, it puts too much stuff for me, but this is just me. But this morning, look at this. This is what Lori's talking about with this chop. Chops and chops and chops. Well, what would you expect? This bus driver has got 2 deviation levels, the mid ice, the green ice. There's just a bunch of stuff right in here. But when they finally decide what way they're going, yes, this came up here and put a trend catcher entry, but look at the opportunity. If you didn't take that, okay, but look at the touchback. This is a perfect touchback right here to the green E. Sometimes in bonds, it's not going to move as fast as those indices markets are. So you're not going to, yes, ideally we'd like a whole lot of space and all that stuff. But this is a great touchback. You had several opportunities here. Then it put in a sling, and on it went right to the deviation, and then it just kept on going to the next one. And it finally got up here to the top of the range channel. Do not ignore these range channels, folks, because the bus drivers sure know where those price levels are. So this was anybody that caught this or caught a good portion of it, that was a really, really nice trade this morning. So I think that's, excuse me, I think that's about it. I'll stop clearing my throat and coughing and stuff in your ear here. But tomorrow morning, I wanted to warn you that tomorrow morning at 8:30, you better pay attention. There's Canadians have got trade balance in their labor, and the U.S. has got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers come out tomorrow. So at 8:30, be real careful if you've got a trade on going into 8:30. Be sure and tighten up your stops. And if you're thinking about putting on a trade, you might want to give it a couple, 3 minutes to see how it's gonna shake out. So anyway, let's see. Oh, and we've got the VIX is coming back down a little bit. It was a couple, 3 days ago. It was over 18. In fact, over 18.5. But it's calmed itself back down to around. It's trading 14.36 right now, and we still don't have a big difference between West Texas and Brent.